everyone. It's me, Kelly, again. I've just received some shocking news from GH, and I want to share it with you. These recent developments with Willow have left me shaking my head in disbelief, yet I cannot look away. As someone who has followed every heartbreak, every scheme, and every redemption arc on this show, I truly believe we are witnessing one of the most chilling character turns in recent memory. Willow, that sweet-faced young woman who once seemed so gentle and devoted, has revealed a side that is far darker than anyone could have imagined. What strikes me most is how Brennan has come to see the true danger in Willow's actions. After everything he has been through, including his own experiences with betrayal and manipulation within the WSB, he now realizes her behavior is spiraling out of control. I think this realization is pushing him toward a major shift, one where he may ultimately betray Willow to protect others and perhaps even himself. It feels like a natural evolution for his character. Brennan has always been sharp and strategic, the kind of man who weighs every move carefully. Seeing Willow's schemes up close has clearly forced him to adjust his own path, and I suspect this will lead to some explosive confrontations ahead. One of the most heartbreaking moments for me is when Brennan decides to warn Nina about her own daughter. He sits down with her and lays out the truth in that calm, measured way of his. Nina, who has fought so hard for a relationship with Willow, has no choice but to admit she can no longer trust her. I felt for Nina in that scene. As a mother myself, I know how painful it is to face the reality that your child has gone down a destructive road. Nina has made plenty of mistakes over the years, but this feels different. Willow's actions cut deeper because they are wrapped in such a convincing mask of innocence. Behind that sweet smile lies a woman more cunning than Nina or even Madeline at their absolute worst. That comparison really hit me hard. Madeline was ruthless, but Willow operates with a calculated precision that makes her even more unsettling. I have been thinking a lot about Willow's relationship with her children. On the surface, she appears to be a loving and protective mother, especially with little Daisy. But the more we see, the clearer it becomes that her attachment crosses into something obsessive and dangerous. She seems consumed by them in a way that drives her extreme decisions. This obsession has already caused her to manipulate situations and push people away, including what happened with Sasha. After her split from Michael, Willow's repeated intrusions into the Quartermain home and her psychological tactics that ultimately sent Sasha fleeing the country show just how far she is willing to go. Sasha is now in France, with her biological parents, living in fear that something terrible could happen to Daisy. It is a heartbreaking consequence of Willow's behavior, and it makes me wonder how much further she might go if she feels truly cornered. Brennan's understanding of Willow's cruelty runs deep, especially when it comes to what she did to Drew. The level of cold calculation required to drug someone so severely that they end up paralyzed, needing constant care like bathing, changing, and being fed through tubes, is horrifying. It takes a special kind of ruthlessness to inflict that kind of suffering on another human being, particularly someone she was once close to. I keep asking myself how a person who presents herself as caring could cross that line. The answer, I believe, lies in her growing desperation and her willingness to eliminate any obstacles in her path. Brennan sees this clearly, and I think that insight is what is driving him to consider sharing critical new information with Drew. Providing Drew with fresh details could completely change the game. Drew has his own flaws, of course. His financial missteps and political maneuvering are serious, and yes, he probably deserves to face some accountability in court. But when you stack those mistakes against Willow's growing list of offenses, they pale in comparison. Brennan knows this, and I suspect he is preparing to arm Drew with enough evidence to turn the tables. This potential alliance or information exchange puts Willow in an incredibly precarious position. The danger she faces now feels more intense and unpredictable than ever before. Will she try to strike first, or will her carefully constructed world begin to crumble around her? I believe we will see some desperate moves from her side very soon. The ripple effects of all this are touching so many lives in Port Charles. Jocelyn remains in a difficult situation, and the threats involving Britt and Liesel add another layer of urgency. The forced work on that dangerous cold fusion weapon project tied to Caesar's legacy is terrifying. The idea that something so powerful could threaten the entire planet raises the stakes to an almost unimaginable level. I have seen many big storylines over the decades, but this one feels particularly timely and intense. It makes you appreciate how interconnected everything is in this town. One person's ambition or fear can endanger everyone. What fascinates me most as a longtime viewer is how the writers are peeling back Willow's layers so gradually. She is not a cartoonish villain. That is what makes her so compelling and, frankly, disturbing. She still has moments where you catch glimpses of the old Willow, the one who cared deeply for her family. Those flashes make her current path even more tragic. I find myself wondering if there is any chance for redemption, or if she has gone too far this time. Brennan's growing awareness and willingness to act could be the catalyst that forces her to confront the consequences of her choices. I also appreciate how this storyline highlights different kinds of strength and moral complexity. Brennan is not perfect, but his sense of duty and his ability to adapt feel authentic. His decision to warn Nina shows a level of compassion mixed with pragmatism that I respect. Meanwhile, Nina's reluctant acceptance of the truth demonstrates real growth on her part. She has come a long way from her earlier days, and seeing her face this painful reality adds emotional weight to the drama. Looking ahead, I am excited and a little nervous about what comes next. Will Brennan fully commit to exposing Willow, or will new complications arise that test his resolve? How will Drew react to the information he might receive? And what about Willow's next move when she realizes the walls are closing in? These questions keep me coming back to the show every day. The beauty of General Hospital has always been its ability to blend personal drama with larger threats, and this current arc does that masterfully. After all these years, I still find myself deeply invested in these characters as if they were old friends. Some days I cheer for justice, other days I hope for forgiveness and healing. With Willow's story, I lean more toward accountability because the harm she has caused is significant. Yet I also hope the writers give us satisfying resolutions that honor the long history of the show. Brennan's evolving role feels like a turning point, one that could reshape alliances and bring long overdue truths to light. Brennan has been piecing together the full extent of her actions for some time now. He understands how dangerous she has become, especially after learning about her alliance with Sidwell and the cruel way she drugged Drew. That level of cold calculation, leaving a man paralyzed, dependent on others for bathing, changing, and feeding through tubes, reveals a ruthlessness that shocks even someone as experienced as Brennan. I keep asking myself how the sweet nurse we once knew could go this far. The answer seems to lie in her growing obsession with control, particularly over her children. She claims to love them deeply, yet her behavior feels more like possession than protection. This obsession has already driven Sasha to flee the country in fear for little Daisy's safety. It is heartbreaking, and it shows how Willow's actions are hurting the very people she says she wants to protect. Brennan's decision to warn Nina about her own daughter was a pivotal moment. Nina, who has fought so hard to rebuild their relationship, had to admit she could no longer trust Willow. Behind that angelic smile is a woman more devious than Nina or even Madeline at their worst. That comparison still sends a chill down my spine. Brennan sees it clearly, and his growing awareness is pushing him to make bold moves. I believe this is leading directly to the PCPD stepping in. The evidence against Willow, from her schemes with Sidwell to the threats against the WSB budget and her manipulation of those around her, has become too overwhelming to ignore. This impending arrest is creating all sorts of new troubles and wild adjustments in the story. Jocelyn remains caught in the crossfire, while the situations with Britt and Liesel grow more desperate by the day. The terrifying cold fusion weapon project that Liesel is being forced to complete raises the stakes to a global level. It feels like everything is interconnected, and Willow's downfall could either calm the storm or ignite even bigger explosions. I wonder if her arrest will be the beginning of her painful ending, or if she will find one last way to twist the knife before justice catches up. Given how clever she has proven to be, I would not be surprised if she attempts something desperate that drags more people into the chaos. What fascinates me is how the writers are showing different sides of morality here. Drew has his own sins, especially the financial ones tied to politics. He deserves accountability too, But those mistakes seem small compared to Willow's trail of harm. Brennan providing Drew with new information could be the final push that seals her fate. Will Drew use it wisely? Or will old grudges complicate everything? I suspect we will see some intense confrontations that force everyone to choose sides. As a fan who has seen countless redemptions on this show, I still hold out a small hope that Willow might find a path back to the light, but the pain she has caused makes that feel unlikely now. Her story feels like a tragedy, unfolding in real time. The emotional weight of all this keeps me coming back. Nina's quiet acceptance of the truth about her daughter touched me deeply. Motherhood is complicated on General Hospital, and this arc captures that beautifully. Brennan, with his spy background and sense of duty, seems ready to do what is necessary, even if it means betraying someone he once got close to. These new crazy developments, the arrest, the shifting alliances, and the threat of a truly painful conclusion for Willow have injected fresh energy into the show. It feels like we are building towards something big, and I cannot wait to see how it all lands.